Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
Karmendriyani sanyamya,
ya aste manasa smaran,
ya aste manasa smaran,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
yastvindriyani manasa,
yastvindriyani manasa,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
karmendriyai karmayogam,
Karmendriyai karmayogam,
asakta savishishyate,
asakta savishishyate,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
karmajyayo hyakarmanaha,
karmajayo hyakarmanaha,
sharirayatra pichate,
sharirayatra pichate,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
yajñarthat karmanonyatra,
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः,
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय,
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर,
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर,
सह यज्ञाः praja srishtva
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
purovacha prajapatihi
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
anena prasavishyadvam
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
yeshavostvishta kamadhuk.
येषवोऽस्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we are in verse number 10, wherein he is actually explaining the connection between you and yajna, the principle of yajna. The moment he talks of saha yajnaha, saha means with, that connection is there. Saha yajna praja srishtva. Praja, as I told you, is a creation, you. So what is the connection between you and this principle of yajna? That is what he is explaining in this verse. One thing is to consider yajna as something which is outside, which is different from whatever you are experiencing today, and then you try to build a connection. Now, that doesn't work on a permanent basis. See, when you don't have connection to something today and then you get connected, there is always a chance of again separating. Now, what he's trying to say is, there always existed a connection between you, it is your life, and yajna. The principle of yajna and this world cannot be separated. World means that includes you also and your life. That connection has eternally existed right from the day the world was created, and it continues to exist, and it will exist forever. So, the sadhana is in realizing this connection and practicalizing it and using it for your growth, using it for your inner development. It is the same thing with divinity or the infinite also. When we say get connected to the divine, many a times it is said. Generally, how the mind will understand this is, today there is a disconnection. Now I have to put in efforts and connect with the infinite. Now when you have that kind of an approach, it will not give you a permanent effect, because your starting point, there is a starting point which you are giving for connection. The moment you give a starting point, it means before that the connection was not existing. And if there is a possibility of the connection not existing in the past, then there is a possibility of the connection not existing in the future also. At some point, you can get disconnected again. So whenever you talk of something within a time frame, there is a beginning And if there is a beginning, there will be an end. Now, that kind of an approach will only keep giving you temporary benefits. The sadhana which these great masters are giving is not designed to merely give you temporary benefits. It is inherently designed to give you a long-lasting or eternal benefits. So when can the connection with God or the infinite be permanent? Only if you remove the time frame which you are artificially fixing. So what the great masters say is that there is already a connection. Divinity is already existing, the infinite. You are also existing and the connection is there. But you are not recognizing that. The awareness is not there. It's like an object is already there in front of you, but you have your eyes closed and therefore you don't know that object is there. This is what they mean by avidya, ignorance. So when something is already there and it will continue to exist, all you need to do is conform yourself to that system. So whenever it is said, get connected to divinity, get connected to the infinite. As a deeper sadhak, you should understand it this way. It is not a new connection which they are asking you to build. The connection is already existing. They are asking you to realize that. That is why some saint, some yogi coined it as self-realization, God realization. What do we mean by God realization? God is already there. You have to realize that. See, this understanding, the moment you understand it this way, the whole complexion of your sadhana will change. You already have a lot of wealth. Let us say you already have a lot of money in your bank account. But you have forgotten about it. You lost the connection. You lost the connection in the sense you lost access to it. Let's say in net banking or whatever, you lost the password. So if you want to access that amount, all you need to do is you get your password. If you have forgotten it, you go through the procedure, create a new one, and then you can access your account and withdraw your money. So there, when it is said you access your money, it doesn't mean you have to create something new. It is already there. You just have to access it. So when you understand this principle of connection, as if now there is no connection and now only you will have to start getting connected and you will have to get established in that. If you understand it that way, then your sadhana becomes very limited. It will yield limited results only. And number one, it will yield limited results. And number two, those results will also be temporary. You will keep getting connected and again you will get disconnected. Because your mind has already registered the possibility of disconnection. The moment you say from today onwards I have to connect. What is the implication there? Yesterday I was not connected. Till that moment I was not connected. That connection never existed. So that impression gets created deep down within you. So you try to connect, you do the sadhana and you try to connect. You will experience that a little bit. Again, you will come out of that state. You will get disconnected. I'm putting in quotes. It is all the play of your mind only. Whereas, if you understand this truth, that the infinite is always there, Atma tu satatam prapta, said Adi Shankara in his work of Atma Bodha. It is Atma tu satatam prapta, means it is an ever present. You've been having it always, and you'll continue to have it also at all times. So you just have to recognize or realize it. Then your sadhana becomes very deep. Your efforts now will no longer be directed towards becoming divine as if it is a new thing. Your efforts will not be in trying to build a connection with God as if it is the first time. Your efforts will be only in re-establishing your supreme spiritual stature. The process of spiritual growth and becoming a sthita prajna is nothing but re-establishing what is already yours, re-establishing your position. The process of creating a new password and getting into your bank account is only to access something which you already own. It is not a process of creating something new. Oh, I have to start from scratch, I'll have to create. This is not the process for that. So what does sadhana do? Sadhana keeps on removing this avidya, ignorance. And as the ignorance keeps getting removed, the connection which is already there will be realized by you. Now, it is not only with respect to the infinite or God, it is also with respect to all the principles which are coming from the infinite. They are all already existing. Whether you learn these principles or not, they are already existing in your life. A simple example would be the law of gravity. The law of gravity is already existing. Now, when you jump from a top floor, you will get hurt. Why? Because the law of gravity is functioning. It is attracting everything to the center. Now, supposing you say, oh, I don't know the law of gravity. It does not matter. Whether you have knowledge about it or not, that keeps on functioning. You cannot remove the law of gravity from your life. Either you are ignorant about it or you get to know it properly. And when you get to know what these laws are, you are in a position now to use them further to your advantage, to speed up your progress, whether it is in the worldly sense or whether it is in the spiritual sense. The spiritual sense means the inner growth. When you are in a state of ignorance or avidya, your choices become very limited. You really don't know what to do. Sometimes accidentally you may meet with success. Sometimes without knowing what has happened, you will meet with failure. And these ups and downs of life will keep on causing stress within you. And when something negative happens, negative according to you, then you will say, what is happening? Is there a God or not? Why is all this happening? You get further agitated about it. You get disturbed. So this principle of yajna is coming from the infinite directly. Therefore, the nature of this principle is also infinite. If you make an ornament out of gold, that ornament also will be of gold only, because it has come from gold. Similarly, when we talk of Sanatana Dharma, why do we say it is permanent? Sanatana itself means that which never changes with time. Why? Because Sanatana Dharma deals with the fundamental principles of life, which are all coming from the infinite. So if we can take infinite like gold, these principles are different expressions of that gold. So they also have to be eternal. You can't put a time frame. That is what he's saying. Sahayajnaha prajaha srishtva. Right from at the time of creation, this yajna is there. And it will continue to exist till the end. Actually, there is no beginning, no end. It is an inherent, integral part of this world, of life itself. It is an amazing perception. See, this yogic approach gives you that deep perception with which you are able to penetrate. And when you penetrate here, you are actually penetrating into your life. You are understanding the secrets of your life. So, what is very interesting is, he is using the word pura. As I told you, pura means that which happened long back. Here he is going to the very first moment, at the time of creation itself. I was explaining to you earlier about how the mind has value for something old. That is very interesting. See, just for example, when Arjuna was talking to Krishna, he asks Krishna, can you describe a sthita prajna? How does he walk? How does he talk? How does he sit and all that? Now, the fact that he is asking Lord Krishna that question about sthita prajna as a third person means he has not recognized Krishna as a sthita prajna. Right in front of him, in that moment, he was actually talking to not merely a sthita prajna, he was talking to an avatar. But Arjuna had no clue of all that. So that is why here Krishna is saying Purovacha Prajapati, he said. If Krishna directly says, listen, I am telling you this, now Arjuna will not give value. He has to first build up, Later on he'll say, King the Janaka practiced this. Many others have practiced this. So that is a reference to the past. So Arjuna has a lot of value. Similarly, your mind also has a lot of value to the past. If Krishna were to, let us say, appear today in front of you, and if he says, I am only Krishna, you will not give any value. You will not believe. But if the same Krishna were to say, somebody like Krishna, somebody called Krishna, he was a great avatar. He was living 5,000 years back. He gave the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Then you will give value. That is why he is introducing this concept of Pura Uvacha. Prajapatihi spoke this long back. Otherwise, there is no necessity to bring in Prajapatihi and all this. Directly Krishna can give, no? Ultimately, Krishna is the manifestation of the infinite. What more authority do you require? But even though Krishna is a manifestation of the infinite, Arjuna's mind was not mature enough or was not purified enough to understand that greatness. Therefore, he is using an indirect method here. Now, in that context, I had explained about the Puranas also. Purana means that which happened long back. Now, if you take the 18 Puranas, I will give you a subtle point here using which you can enrich your sadhana. See, once you start doing your sadhana at a base level, thereafter, week after week, when you keep absorbing these principles, your sadhana will get further and further enriched and enhanced. If you don't do any sadhana, then this will not happen. So the base sadhana you need to do, that the master teaches you, and thereafter he will keep on enriching the sadhana, and all these principles will help you go deeper and deeper in your sadhana. It's an automatic process. So when we talk of Purana, if you take the 18 Puranas, see, generally in the spiritual sense, in the yogic sense, when we talk of Purana, we are talking of that which happened long back, number one, and that which deals with the infinite. That is why last week I said, no, Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. Means the God is infinite and the expressions of God, that's what he calls as Katha, Hari Katha, which is nothing but a Purana. Now here we are not restricting Hari to Lord Vishnu alone. That's a representation of the divine. If you want, you can say Shiva Ananta, Shiva Katha Ananta, or Devi Ananta, Devi Katha Ananta, whatever it is you can say. We are only talking about that principle of how infinite is there, and then its expressions are infinite. This is what we saw last week. So, Purana from a yogic standpoint, it means number one, which happened long back, and number two, that which deals with the divine, the katha or the story of the divine, the expressions of the divine. Now, The moment you understand that deeper significance of purana, you can do a lot of sadhana with it. How? So, if these two aspects are there, number one, something which happens within a frame of time, and number two, that should deal with the divine, that should be an expression or a story of the divine, then these two put together, we can say that is a purana. Now, if you really think about it, if you bring it to your present moment, whatever is happening today will become pura in the future. Number one. Number two, whatever experience you're going through today is actually an expression of the infinite. So, in effect, every moment of your life is actually a purana unfolding. It is actually the incident of the divine which is unfolding. I gave you one sadhana a couple of weeks back, and even that was mentioned last week also, I think, about seeing your life as a drama, because there's a dramatic style which he's giving. That's a beautiful way of looking at things. If you see your entire life as a drama, now you'll become very highly objective. This is the first step. But now we'll go into a little more depth. If we go into a little more depth, it is not enough if you see merely your life as a drama. A further advancement to that is, see your entire life as a purana, as a divine expression, as an expression of divinity within a frame of time. That is what is a purana. So every second which you are going through, that is whatever experience you're going through, you're actually creating a purana. A purana is being created. Why I put it in that passive sense is, when I say you are creating a purana, now the ego can come up, oh, I'm only now creating a purana. That's why. A purana is actually happening. A divine story is being unfolded through your life experiences. This is a further advanced sadhana. That is why first I gave you that principle of seeing everything as a drama, and now this principle is being given to you. It will be easy for you to absorb this. Just imagine when you're talking something, now that is going to be a purana, means a purana is being created. Whatever incidents are happening in your life, now all that, just for argument's sake, if you can just visualize that thousands of years later, somebody will compile it as a book, and that will be called as a purana. How interesting your life will become. There will be a divine touch added to your life if you practice this sadhana of pura. This is a very subtle point which is being explained to you. So you have to absorb this in a relaxed way. Only then you will be able to practice it. See, if you take the Puranic incidents, you will find two people fighting. Whatever is happening in our day-to-day life today, All those things will be there. And the explanation is given as to how everything happens because of divine will. So God is there, then the good forces are there, the negative forces are there, the asuras are there, and how they keep fighting. Many incidents keep unfolding. If you think about it a little bit, the same type of incidents are happening in your life also today. There is that supreme God. There are good forces in your life. Even within you take. There are good forces. There are negative forces. And they are constantly fighting. If you take the world, there are good people. There are negative people. And they are constantly fighting. But you are not seeing it as a purana. You are not seeing it in a divine way because you are completely involved in that. That's why I said the first step is see it as a drama which is being unfolded. If you successfully practice that, or to the extent you practice that, to that extent you will be able to practice what is being given now, which is a further advancement. With this, practice infuses the divine energy into each and every experience of yours. So there are good things happening in your life, there are negative things happening in your life. Sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're sorrowful, same thing with respect to others also. Sometimes you have wonderful, meaningful conversations. Sometimes you have meaningless conversations. Different incidents are happening. But the mind gets involved in each and every experience as an end in itself. It doesn't have the total picture. When you are going through the various experiences of your life, you are unable to stand apart and have the total picture. The moment you do that, you will understand it's a Purana. What is if you, for example, if you take Srimad Bhagavatam or the Devi Bhagavatam, whatever it is, Mahashiva Purana, any Purana you take, now you go incident by incident, different things happened. One Asura came, then he started ruling the world, and they prayed to Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu. He came, did something. So these are all various incidents are being written there. Now, supposing you get involved in one incident, now you will forget that it is a Purana. But since the whole thing is being presented to you, you know that this is a part of the divine story which has been written down in that book. You see it in a spiritual way. You see it as, you recognize it as a Purana. Now when it comes to your life, you are a part of that one chapter of that book. If you can imagine that your whole life is a book. Now you are a part of that book. Therefore, you don't recognize the Purana, the divine expression being unfolded every minute. So by developing objectivity, a yogi withdraws his consciousness and then he uses that objectivity to make his life divine. He is not making his life divine in a new way. It's not that it was not divine earlier and it is divine now. That's why to start with I covered that point. It is only a recognition, realization. He starts getting established in this divine connection. And the moment you see your whole life as an expression of divinity, as you are going through the ups and downs of your life, you will start getting purified. Experience by experience you will get purified and your mind will become single pointed towards the infinite God. Why do you read the Puranas? I am talking of whether it's Bhagavatam or whether it is any Purana or any scripture, so that you can purify your mind and you can direct your mind towards God, isn't it? But the time which you spend in studying the scripture will be very less compared to the rest of your experiences. So what are you going to do at that time? This should help you in converting every experience into a divine one. How do you achieve that? Very simple. Purana. Your present experience is nothing but a Purana unfolding. Right now, somebody is talking to you. You're listening. It is a Purana. Then you may be talking to someone else. That person will be listening to you. Again, another incident or in that Purana which is being unfolded. So the real yogic sadhana of this word pura is in viewing your life experiences as unfoldments or manifestations of that divine, as a divine story, divine drama is happening. When you read Vishnu Purana, for example, Vishnu is a central god. He represents the infinite. So the entire events are given, but everything is focused on that one supreme god, Vishnu, who is a manifestation of the infinite. If you read the Maha Shiva Purana, many events are given, but who is a central god? Lord Shiva, who is a manifestation of the infinite. So the whole idea is to get focused on that supreme reality. If you read the Devi Bhagavatam, many events are given. Who is a central god? It is Goddess Shakti, Devi. Now, the whole idea is, as you are reading these events, the focus is not on the events per se, but the focus is on becoming one with the goddess, who is a representation of the infinite. And through that goddess, you become one with the infinite. That is the whole purpose. Now, once you develop this perception, if you apply it to your life right now, then experience by experience, you will start becoming one with that infinite supreme reality. It is a very powerful sadhana which is being given to you today. Now, how much you can practice it, that depends on your capacity. Just get inspired by that, absorb as much as you can, no need to tax yourself. But even if you practice it a little bit, let us say 5% or 10%, you will start feeling a big change. An ordinary experience now will become a divine experience for you. Today you are looking for special things to do in order to get that spiritual inspiration. But if you practice this, even in so-called ordinary experiences, you will get a divine experience. You will be transported, your consciousness will be transported to higher realms of spirituality. Experience by experience, you will start getting purified. That is why in the last session I told you, your life is so valuable. The problem is you don't have any value for yourself and whatever it is that you're doing. And you're seeking that value from others. You want others to come and recognize. and keep praising you. It is an absurd thing if you think about it. So when you practice this sadhana of pura, I have given you the deeper aspects here. If you practice that, then what is the value which you are creating in your life? Infinite value. There is nothing higher than divinity. And if you recognize your experiences or whatever it is that you're doing as divine work, as a divine expression, you have given the highest value. And your mind will go through the various joys and sorrows. Sometimes you have, experience pleasurable things, sometimes unpleasant things. Sometimes someone comes and praises you, sometimes someone comes and criticizes you. There is a profit, there is a loss financially. Sometimes there is a birth. Sometimes someone close to you dies. The various extremes of life will be keep flowing, or rather you will flow with them, but they will no longer affect you, because slowly your mind will start getting so mature, so purified, and the focus will shift from all this to the infinite. That is the very purpose of yajna. The sadhana of yajna is for you to become one with the infinite. This is what is real karma yoga. From a relative sense, lower sense, we are going to see a lot of aspects. We have already seen and we will continue to see various aspects of karma yoga in terms of action. How do you be more productive? How do you increase the quality? All that. But now what is being given to you is one of the most advanced principles. You don't need to go to any particular place of worship in order to worship God. You don't need to do anything special, thinking that that is a special ritual which will get me connected to the divine. Every second, every moment, as you are naturally experiencing your life, you can convert the place where you are into a place of worship. Your own house, wherever you're sitting, that becomes your temple. And whatever it is that you're experiencing at that moment, that becomes the highest ritual which is going to get you united with the infinite. Experience by experience, a yogi keeps on evolving. What an amazing principle this is. Sahayajnyaha praja srishtva pura uvacha prajapatihi. Now, see, if you really want to get a hang of it, watch this as many times as possible. Keep on getting inspired with this. I can go on and on with this, but you also have to do some sadhana and absorb the energy behind what is being given. So number one, pura, and then he says Uvacha. Uvacha means said. Like first he said Arjuna Uvacha. First we started off with Dhritarashtra Uvacha, and Sanjay Uvacha is there, Arjuna Uvacha is there, Bhagavan Uvacha is there. Now he says Uvacha again. Who is talking? Uvacha means spoke. So who spoke? Prajapatihi. The Creator himself spoke, as it were. Now, what is the significance of this? It's very interesting. Uvacha means he gave out the purpose of yajna and the application of yajna, because we are going to see all that in the coming verses. So that was given by none other than the Prajapati himself, by the Creator himself. Now, why has he put it that way? See, supposing somebody comes and talks to you about how to become a billionaire. Now, you may give it importance, you may not give it importance. But supposing the number one, that is the richest person in the world, let us say is a successful, because that keeps changing every year. That's why we're not taking any particular examples. But let's say the number one in terms of wealth, that person comes and tells you and releases a video on what are the principles of wealth creation. Immediately your mind will become very attentive. Whenever an expert in a field talks, your mind becomes attentive. Why? Because you believe that yes, that person is an expert in that. So what he says will be true. What he says there will be a lot of value in that. Actually, if you think about it, it is a weakness of the mind. See, the mind, when we talk of pura, we are talking of when it was said. The mind has a value for when something is being told, rather than what it is. Similarly, another value which a mind has is who told this. Like even when we take the Bhagavad Gita, somebody asks, who wrote the Bhagavad Gita? Vyasa or Krishna? Who gave the Bhagavad Gita? Vyasa or Krishna? For a sadhak, it doesn't matter, because anybody who gave the Bhagavad Gita should have been at that level of a Krishna or a Vyasa, should have been vibrating with, at that infinite level. But still the mind has this weakness. Instead of focusing on what is being told, the mind focuses on when was it said, who said it. If it is coming from a great personality, immediately the mind gives more value. Now, Arjuna also has that same weakness. If Krishna gives the same principle, this is what is Yajna Arjuna, with this now make your life better. Now Arjuna will not have any value. This is what Prajapati, the very Creator, said. Oh, then Arjuna's mind becomes attentive. And when we are talking about Arjuna's mind, that is only an example. We're talking about your mind. So a good sadhak will really not be bothered about who said it. When was it said? Whether it was said in the past or present or future, whether it's going to be said in the future, what difference does it make? Similarly, whether it was told by A, B or C, what does it matter? What is being said? Is that relevant to me today? Will that be useful to me? Does that have any depth? A good sadhak will focus on that. So when he says, Puro uvacha prajapatihi, if you read that together, you can see that he is attacking the mind amazingly. See, that's what Bhagavad Gita contains a lot of psychological principles. Actually, communication itself is 99% psychology only. 1% is only what the content is. If you focus more on the content and if you leave out the psychology part, then you will not be able to communicate effectively. So here Krishna has assessed how Arjuna's mind thinks. He has clearly assessed what does Arjuna's mind value. What are all the things which Arjuna's mind has value for? And he is making use of all that to communicate this higher wisdom. So you can use this principle whenever you want to communicate to anything to anyone. You should first assess and see what are the things which they value. In general terms, people have a lot of value for antiquity. They have a lot of value for personalities rather than what is being told. They see who has told it. This is the very principle with which they create advertisements for various products. You see, they always bring in a celebrity, a well-known person to promote a product. Oh, this one a well-known person says this soap is good or this toothpaste is good. Now, if you are a thinker, you will pause there and ask, so what? That may be suitable to him, but is it a good product? Will it be suitable to me? But 99% of the people don't think. Just because someone endorses something, they just mechanically follow that. That is a weakness of the human mind. He is so beautifully, he is indicating that here. Just imagine Lord Krishna, who is an avatar, is standing there. What is the necessity for him to quote anyone? Whatever he gives is going to be the authority. He is the ultimate creator. The infinite is the ultimate creator, right? And Krishna is a direct manifestation of that infinite. Yet you find Krishna quoting, giving examples from the past, various references, this, that. Why? Because Arjuna's mind is conditioned. So the tip which we get first of all is we should come out of these conditionings. If you want to absorb the full energy of what is being told, you should come out of all these conditionings of the mind. The moment you remove all these conditionings, then you become a very powerful learner. You can learn anything you want if you focus on the quality of whatever is being said or whatever is being taught. But the moment your mind slips into the time factor or the personality factor and all that, then it is moving away from what the content is, what the depth of what is being given. And if you really see, if you take the Upanishads and all that, there is no author. We don't even know who said it. But since it was given long back, the mind again gives a value for that. So if you want to become a powerful sadhak, You have to become a powerful learner. And how do you activate that learning element within you? Overcome these two weaknesses. One is an extra value for time when it was told, and the other is an extra value for the person who told it. It doesn't matter when it was told, it doesn't matter who told it. What is the most important thing, what matters most is what is being told. Don't accept something just because now Yogishri is saying it. Again, then you're confusing the personality with the truths. You take it independently, test it in your life, then it will become your own. The whole exercise is to make this wisdom your own. It should become authentic. And when can something become authentic? When you start practicing it. When you make it a part of you, only then it becomes an authentic experience. A scholar merely quotes from the scriptures, but a master doesn't stop with that. He infuses his personal energy, he infuses his experiential wisdom, even when he is quoting from some scripture. That is what gives that depth. So here, it is not because the creator, Prajapati, he said this, that this verse is powerful. It is because Lord Krishna is adding that infinite energy to it that it is powerful. If you use the yogic approach alone, you can recognize and absorb that. So, Purovacha Prajapatihi. Something was told long back. It makes the mind attentive. It was told by the Creator. The Creator is going to talk about creation. How, the principle of creation. Then again the mind becomes very attentive. It's good. But if you're a good sadhak, you will rise beyond all this. So whenever you communicate something to others, you can use these tips. See what it is that they value most. And if you conform whatever you're communicating to what they value most, it will become very easy to communicate. Instead of saying the other person is not understanding, you can try this method. Some people will have an extra value for sports. Some people will have an extra value for movies. Some people will have an extra value for money. Different values. So if you communicate or accordingly, that is if you reorient whatever you want to say according to the other person's mind, then the communication will become very effective. So examples, value for time, value for personalities. These are common weaknesses which people have. That's why he's using that. And when it comes to yourself, as a sadhak, ensure you rise above these weaknesses. So the practice of this externally and internally, the application varies a little bit. When you practice it for your external communication, now use these principles liberally. When it comes to learning something, then don't get colored by when was it said and who said it and all that. Go directly into the message and learn whatever you want to learn. That is what Bhagavan Dattatreya meant when he said, be an eternal learner, Nitya Shishya. Go on learning. And you can go on learning from anything and everything only if you have that capacity to penetrate. in the next Yoga Sankirtan, which is the process is going on, one of the portions in that Yoga Sankirtan material is focused on increasing your penetrativeness. These kinds of weaknesses, these factors actually reduce your penetrativeness. So, sahayagnya prajasištva puro, that is pura uvacha prajapatihi. Something was told that long ago by an expert in that field. See how amazingly he is using psychology, the weakness of Arjuna's mind to convey this wisdom. So when you are studying this, study this to function in the world, and also study this for self-improvement, that is, become a good learner also by rising beyond these weaknesses. That will help you tremendously. Okay, so we'll stop with this today. I have given some very subtle points related to yajna. Reflect on these points. Whatever is very practical, like communication and all that which I said, that you can make a note of and that you can immediately practice. The other thing which I said about the Purana unfolding, that you listen to it as many times as possible. Keep on getting inspired. That is changing the very perception, the inner perception about life. The way you look at life has to change. Everything is there. The infinite presence is already there within you and outside you. It is there right now. You are thinking God is somewhere far away. No. Very intimately connected to you. When you close your eyes, you can feel the presence. When you open your eyes, you can feel the same presence outside. In order to get to that level, you got to practice this principle of yajna, this aspect of yajna. Okay? So now, before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I will take up one question. A sadhak has asked this question. Hari Om Guruji, pranams. Today during the session I had a powerful thought that week after week we are getting the ancient wisdom with various dimensions. So on one hand, I feel loaded, and on the other hand, I feel satiated with the information. I feel that whatever information I have till date, I need to go deep into it and practice and absorb the energy to transform my life. Though I don't feel satiated with the energy that I experienced during the session. Kindly guide me, Guruji, how to deal with this. Pranams. This is a very interesting question which he has asked. Week after week, so many points are being given. So he says, I feel loaded with a lot of information. So don't we require some time? Okay, let's stop and go deep into whatever principles have already been given. Let me master them first, then let me come to the next principle. See, that capacity that just now I was talking to you about penetration, that capacity to penetrate and absorb something fully slowly increases as you grow spiritually. You cannot start with that. In the pre-Vedic times, pre-Vedic times we can say, I have mentioned to you, the master never said anything. The students used to go, the master just used to be in silence. There was no verbal communication, but the students picked up the entire wisdom. They had that capacity of penetrativeness to penetrate into that silence which the master was communicating. As that penetrativeness reduced, then more and more verbal communication started. Today in this Kali Yuga, the penetrativeness is very minimum. And the distractions for the mind are also very high. So if just one point is given, actually why all this? On paper what you're saying is right. Just one point, Tattvamasi, that God you are, that thou art. Just that one line can be given. Now for the rest of your life, keep penetrating. Absorb that full energy. The question is, do you have the capacity to do it? So why are we having this on a regular basis, week after week? See, in the Gurukula system, even when they were penetrating with silence, they used to go and stay with the Guru. Why? On a daily basis, that interaction. Initially, the interaction was with silence, then verbal interactions. These were necessary because if you don't do that, then you will start off by going into the depth of it. You will make a sincere attempt. I can see that you are asking very sincerely. But you will not stop with that. The mind will get distracted, and instead of focusing on this, now you will start getting random thoughts. You will go here, there, and whatever little spiritual progress you were making will also go away. So one thing is to gain this wisdom systematically. The other thing is to protect your mind. That is where these regular sessions help. We say satsang. Satsang means company with the truth. Company with that supreme reality. So when you are constantly in touch with the Master, who is one with the infinite, then your mind does not get distracted. So when you say, I feel loaded, that happens whenever your focus shifts from the depth to the quantity. How many points are being given? So many points are there. Actually, there are no many points. If you really get into the spirit of what is being given, the same thing is only being repeated in different ways. That is the yogic approach. See, truth is only one. Tat tvam asi, that thou art. There ends it. The rest of the knowledge are only saying that one thing in different ways. Everything which is being said will take you one step towards the absorption of that central theme. But if your focus even temporarily shifts to mere intellectual knowledge instead of the yogic approach, then you will see these points as different points which I need to practice. That will definitely cause a lot of strain. It will become a burden for you. So my request is, shift your focus. It doesn't matter how many points are being given and all that. As you yourself have said, you never get satiated with the energy, which means the approach is right only. Somewhere here and there you may have slipped. So again, collect. It is not about practicing these points in the real sense. That is, by itself the practice of these points mean nothing. Whatever is being given is to make your mind focused on that infinite. So the best way is to not see these weekly sessions as exposition of various points from the Bhagavad Gita. That is an intellectual way of looking at it. This is expounding the wisdom of life. This will help you to get connected with the divine. It is a satsang. How to unite with Sat. Sat means that infinite existence. When you view it that way, then this problem will immediately go away. So every week, just sit like a child. Forget what you learned last week. Forget means not for permanently. What I meant is, don't bring in all that here now. What you know, what you have read here, what you have read there, it doesn't matter. Just sit with a simple mind like a child, absorb the energy and go with the flow of what is being given. Whatever you're able to absorb, what inspires you, start practicing them. It will not be a burden at all if you have this approach. And next week, if a different point is given, I'm putting that different in quotes. Now you start practicing that, and the amazing thing you will find is when you practice that point, your wisdom about the previous point will increase. And when another 5 more points are given and 2 inspire you, you pick them up and start practicing. Now the wisdom about the previous things which you learned, that will get strengthened because they are all a part of one system, one wisdom only. This is the yogic approach. If you have an intellectual approach, then different points, that's going to cause a lot of complication. There is no end to that. So use these sessions to inspire yourself, to see, number 1, inspiration. Number 2, to heal yourself, receive the higher energy and heal yourself. And number 3, systematically learn the higher principles, the higher wisdom of life. Enrich your life and become one with the infinite. This will not cause any burden whatsoever. Every week you will start looking forward every week. Not because something new is going to be given, because it's going to inspire you, it's going to uplift you. Okay, this is a very important point which all the sadhaks should note, because one sadhak expresses and asks a question, but that principle is applicable to everyone. That is why I give the answers in the public forum so that everyone is benefited. Okay, so now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond my body, beyond my emotions, beyond my thoughts, deep, deep within me lies my essential self. I am essentially divine. Every moment of my life a purana, the story of the divine, is being unfolded. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. It's a very powerful and deep session which we have had today. Very subtle aspects of sadhana have been given to you. As I told you, the more you expose yourself to these truths, the more inspired you will become. Your life should be an inspired one. The more wisdom you gain, the more you will want. That is the beauty of this yogic approach. You will never feel satiated. The person who had asked that question said, I feel satiated. It means the focus has shifted from the depth to the length. The pure yogic approach is being given to you. If you just follow that flow, you will never get satiated. The more you taste this, the more you want. That is what it means to be an eternal student. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next session. Hari Om.